In this demo, we're going to cover our ESS portal application that's built on the service portal technology of ServiceNow. Now, our application is not an alternative to the out-of-the-box service portal, but rather is an extension that we add themes, we add functionality, and we add a deeper set of features than what you get by default. We do leverage some of the common service portal components like your widget editor, your page designer, to make those configurations as easy as can be, and it's all accessible and editable. Also, all of the widgets that we package with our application are built with parameter-based inputs, so you can make configurations without having to write code, such as swapping out, in this case, the specific tile names that show up on the home page. This particular theme is one of our 8 themes, and this one's more of a tile-based theme, but does also have some components like a carousel and image-based alerts to kind of promote information to our consumers. We also see in this theme the use of what we call our I want to menu, and I want to highlight this in the sense that this is where we try to push to our consumers the bubble up kind of the top 10 things that they as a consumer should look for or come to first and foremost as a kind of popular or common actions for them. And this list may differ from one user to the next. For example, maybe not everyone sees Apple Watch as a selection to request. Some of the things you're going to find in here are going to be self-service enablement content, like here is a training video on how to learn a new skill that I can leverage. Also some options in here that are more action-based, like maybe I need to refresh my sluggish computer, which I can see if I'm eligible, kind of start that process, pick a computer that's a good replacement for me, and then place my order to fulfill and replace my currently sluggish, out-of-date piece of equipment. Also highlight in here, you'll see our different shared service functions are exposed as well. So I can access, in this case, HR. Right? So maybe HR, I'm having some questions related to my benefit. I can start and submit a question. I can start a chat session with an HR specialist. Or maybe right now isn't a great time for me, so instead I can schedule an appointment, find an available slot, and then submit my request to have that one-on-one consultation activity with an HR specialist. I mentioned that we package 8 different themes with our application. Really, the emphasis in each of these different themes is different in terms of how you navigate, how you search, how you browse, and also some of the color schemes and styles will adjust each of these as well. We also recognize that any modern user experience needs to be mobile friendly, if not mobile first by its design. All of our themes have been configured to give the user a similar experience when they extend to different mobile devices as their iPhones or iPads. And when we get too small, we tend to do things like push the menu off canvas, which could also be opened and closed via swipe events to drive a consistent experience what you see in a lot of mobile devices. Requesting goods and services is one of those primary functions and use cases of the portal, and much like Amazon, my preferences, my order history, my role are all factors in kind of what items get suggested for me. So for example, you'll see different items in my list of suggestions up here, and if I order, say, an iPad, I might get suggestions for iPad accessories or other related components that go with that. Further, if I'm subscribed to specific business services, some of the items that are related or actions related to those services are going to bubble up and show us as suggestions for me. If I don't want to be inundated with suggestions, I can hide those and remember this as a preference, so coming forward I can basically not be inundated with those suggestions. My other way is kind of drive through the different catalogs and ultimately categories to find the things that I want to request. Any of these items I can add to my cart and ultimately view my cart and check out later. Or if I have some items that I'm not ready to order now, I can also add these to my kind of save for later list by clicking save for later. So I can obviously browse for answers or items to request, but I can also, if you're like me, you likely want to start with search. And so some of the things that we do with the search is, as I type, we'll start to offer suggestions that match other searches that have been performed before. We'll also, if we misspell something, so in this case Apple's misspelled, we'll also correct those spellings and look for matching search terms that match those correct spelled words as well. When we actually run a search, we'll actually use those terms and phrases and we'll kind of parse them and find kind of ways to find out what are the true keywords, as well as mapping them to different categories. So in this case, I want an iPad actually maps to a keyword of iPad and kind of isolates my search to the tablets category, which I can open up to other categories and other items to find a wider list, but it's kind of targeting my search based off of kind of natural language intelligence. Also, if I search for something more specific, like what is the status of my requests, behavior of this is it's going to trap and capture that I'm looking for status and request together and send me to my check status page and filter my requests for active requests that I can quickly see the status of. Also, if I'm interested in seeing a particular status on one particular ticket, I can always put in the ticket number. It'll highlight in my suggestions the tickets that match that particular number or keyword, and then I can quickly just click on that suggestion and it'll take me directly to that particular record to see where it's at within its workflow and process. I can always apply the search also on any of these browsing experiences as well. So I can add a keyword, like in this case Cloud PC, to see what are the items that match Cloud PC. I can pull up these items, and one of the things that I can see on these items is that I can see if this request or actionable item is tied to a durable business service. And if I want to learn more about that service, I can click on it in this kind of related services link area. From here I can see what the service is. I can see who it's offered to. I can see notable contact information. I can also see if it's made up of different offerings and flavors, which in the offerings I can see price, I can see commitments, I can see what's included, what's not included. I can see health and status information, how well this service has performed over the last 5 days. I can see some of the different things that I can act on or request in context to this particular service, as well as there is some transparency being provided to how well this service has actually performed over the last 6 months in terms of some of those commitments. On the right, you'll see actions I can perform. So if I have an idea to make this service better, I can start by submitting an idea form, put in my details, and start that process of requesting and making a service improvement. I can also provide feedback, good or bad, rate the service, or get help in context to that service. Request and access is as easy as selecting request access, choosing which offering I would like, and providing additional details, and then hitting submit. The request access process starts with a simple approval from the service owner, which approvals can also be done directly within this portal. So as the service owner, I can come and approve and deny this. Once it's approved, we'll see this workflow kind of progress through its different stages, which in this case is an automated workflow that automatically adds me to gaining access to this particular application and service offering. So that I'd go out to my identity management system, I'd find that now I have access to this Cloud PC offering that I can go test and use and validate and use to my needs. Also within our portal, we can ask for actions to be performed or validations or feedback to be performed as part of this particular service activity. You'll see in this case it's asking me to validate whether or not my satisfaction has been provided as part of this request. I can either say no and provide additional details as to why my access is not working as it should, or I can say yes and confirm all is working as expected and move this request to a completed status. An output of this request is that I'm now a registered subscriber of this service, which you can see at top. I can also see which service offering I'm actively using, and if I wasn't already signed up for health-based alerts, I am now subscribed to those alerts. So if something goes wrong, if Cloud PC goes down or gets degraded, I'll be alerted or informed of that situation. We've also included a view for the service owner to manage their kind of expectations or proactively manage their requests and incidents that are associated with these commitments. And I can also, in this case, respond to different service feedback or other proactive based alerts to make sure my service quality and service health is meeting expectations of our consumers. So this concludes an overview of our ESS Portal application, which again extends functionality native to the platform and also adds some rich user experience that we hope truly engages with your customers. Thank you.